I thought this was gonna be a pretty simple comparison when I sat down to write this script. Steam Deck OLED versus Legion OS with SteamOS. I figured I was gonna break them down, run a few games, and honestly just call it a day. But as I got into it, it turned into something that was much more complicated than I expected, and I'm not still entirely sure how I feel about it. Like, I have been ride or die with the Steam Deck since the launch day back in 2022. I've told people to buy it in checkout lines. I've shown random flight attendants, people sitting next to me on airplanes, how incredible the OLED screen is. Like, I was that guy. Now I'm selling all of them. For a Lenovo handheld that costs more, runs louder, and dies faster. And I do know how that sounds, but hear me out, because I did not think I'd be doing this either. So just for context, like, I bought the OLED Steam Deck on day one, and then, I don't know, because I'm a consumerist moron sometimes, I bought the limited edition white version too. My original 512 LCD deck lives in a drawer like a retired, champion. In all candor also, Lenovo did send me both versions of their GoOS with SteamOS, so the one I'm talking about here and also the more expensive Z1 Extreme. But this video is not sponsored. And I don't think either company is going to necessarily love everything I've got to say. But for this video, I'm comparing the $599 Legion GoOS with SteamOS to the Steam Deck OLED. That seemed like the more fair comparison. The 829 Z1 Extreme, I think, is a totally different conversation. So this is a real apples to apples fight, and did not go the way that I expected. So for my use case, with 3 kids and a job that bleeds into weekends, I didn't think I'd ever game again. And the Steam Deck changed that for me. All these games I heard people play for years, I never got a chance to play. I got to because of the Steam Deck. I played Red Dead 2 for the first time. It brought gaming back to me in a way that fit for my life. And I've lived everything it can do. MU Deck for retro stuff, Spider-Man for pick up and play, Madden for stress relief. The deck just made everything easy, familiar, and effortless. And I am in the ecosystem. I bought cases, docks, grips, like I lived Steam Deck. So when I saw SteamOS running on a Legion prototype back at CES in January, I figured it'd be fine. Kind of a curiosity, something eventually I test, make a video about, and move on from, and then go back to my Steam Deck. And then I used the final version, and something shifted. So I wanted to start with screens. I'm a bit of a screen snob. Like, I tend to walk people's houses and silently judge their settings level of screen snob. I'm working on being better about that. So when I say Legion GoOS has a better screen experience for me, I mean it. And I know that might sound strange, but hear me out. So I'm gonna get this out of the way. The GoOS does not have an OLED screen. It's an IPS LCD, and I absolutely wish it was OLED like the Steam Deck. Which does win when it comes to black levels, contrast, kind of that rich, kind of high-end look you can only get from an OLED. The Steam Deck legitimately has one of the nicest displays I've ever seen on a handheld. It's no slouch on performance either. It runs 90 Hertz, is a big jump from the original deck, 60 Hertz. But the Legion's LCD, surprisingly great. And the big one, it runs at 120 Hertz with variable refresh rate, which makes it feel incredibly fluid. Even when games dip below 60 FPS, it is sharp, it's bright, it responds quickly. While it cannot match OLED for contrast, it makes up for it, I thought, in motion clarity and smoothness. But the real deciding factor for me is the screen size is 8 inches. So that's extra size over the deck 7.4 inch panel. And it might not sound like much, but it changes a lot. In Spider-Man, I can read mission text without squinting. I don't have the best eyesight. In Red Dead, character expressions feel more impactful. Even in games like Madden, the UI just got more room to breathe. It feels more immersive. Obviously, everyone's gonna weigh in with this differently. Some people will take OLED over LCD no matter what, and I get that. That usually is me. But for this case, the screen size would push me over the edge, and I would take a really good LCD at 8 inches over a slightly better OLED at 7.4, at least for how I play. The deck screen is objectively gorgeous, but the Legion's display felt more usable for me, especially over longer gaming sessions. But I do recommend looking at both side by side and see if maybe you disagree. Now still, I wouldn't switch or upgrade to anything just for the screen. I think the device has to feel good. All right, so quick break. We're talking handhelds, because this next thing technically doesn't even need a handheld. I've been testing the new 32-inch smart monitor from video sponsor Samsung. It's the M90 SF 4K OLED Samsung Vision AI. I'm just gonna call it M9. And if you've got a setup where space matters, this is probably going to be your smartest screen in the house. It's got everything. Built-in smart TV app, just like a proper smart TV. It's got Samsung's gaming hub, which means you can jump directly into Xbox Game Pass or GeForce Now. No console, no PC required, just like the monitor and a controller. That's it. And visually, it's made by Samsung. So you know the monitor is going to be really good. So it's a 4K QD OLED panel with VESA display, HDR True Black 400, buttery smooth, 165 hertz refresh rate, and a 0.03 milliseconds response time. It is fast, vibrant, and those black levels are absolutely ridiculous. But the thing that surprised me most about this was actually something you might not think about. It's Samsung's Vision AI, and this is where the monitor gets really smart. So you can click to search and identify what is on your screen. It also will upscale your content to 4K with AI Upscaling Pro. You'll get optimized visuals scene by scene with AI Picture Optimizer. It also even boosts voices so you actually hear dialogue clearly with Active Voice Amplifier Pro. It's like the monitor is actually thinking about what you're watching. And because it's OLED, Samsung also has built-in protection. So the Smart M9 includes OLED Safeguard Plus dynamic cooling system, so don't have to worry about burn-in. And the Smart M90 SF also comes with a 3-year OLED warranty, which is really rare for OLEDs. And sort of, I've got to say this, Samsung is the #1 OLED monitor brand in the US. That is not marketing fluff, that is fact. And it shows here. So if you want a display that can be your monitor, be your smart TV, be your gaming console all in one, the M9 is it. I've got a link down below if you want to order one for yourself. I think SteamOS on the software side is what made the deck feel magic. Instant suspend and resume, was no nonsense with the OS, no Windows updates like mid-boss fight. It felt built for real life, especially my real life. And on Legion Go S, it's the same deal. It's the same library, same UI, same overlays. I mean, it is SteamOS. Some games even think they're running on a deck and kind of locked out resolution settings, which is weird, but all that's fixable. What shocked me was how not janky the whole experience was. I expected driver weirdness and missing features. Instead, it was like picking up a slightly different deck that just felt better in my hands, which made me wonder, what about performance? So the Legion Go S uses AMD's newer Z2 Go chip, while the Steam Deck OLED runs on Valve's custom Aerith APU. And on paper, the Z2 Go should have like a very clear advantage. It's based on AMD's latest Zen 4 CPU and RDNA 3 graphics architecture, compared to the Deck's older Zen 2 and RDNA 2 setup. And that means better efficiency, more modern graphics support, at least it should. But in real world gaming, I did not find the gap to be that huge at all. Most games run very similarly. Depending on the title, the deck can still hold its own, I think largely part to Valve's software tuning. But here's, at least for me, the truth in my experience. At 15 watts, performance is basically tied. Spider-Man, Red Dead Redemption, Cyberpunk, sometimes the deck even wins. But the Legion Go has a higher ceiling. Bump it to 25 watts and you'll get better frame rates. Nothing wild or hugely different, but is noticeable. And of course, if running on battery at that power level, it'll tap out fast, like 90 minutes fast. So unless you're plugged in, the extra performance definitely comes at a cost. What matters more is day-to-day comfort, at least in my experience. And the Go S is heavier, but I thought it had better weight distribution, and I can play for longer without my hands cramping. If you've played Steam Deck for a while, you'll probably kind of know what I'm talking about. And those rear hair trigger switches, I thought they were really handy for shooters. In terms of RAM, both devices come with 16 gigs of DDR5, but I think is more than enough for handheld gaming, although more would always be better. It's great for all that kind of stuff, emulation, multitasking, and SteamOS. Storage is going to vary depending on which model you get, but both do support microSD expansion, so adding more space is pretty easy. If you want to get into the device, you could theoretically update some storage, but microSD is a way to go. And still, all that on paper stuff only gets you so far. I want to see how both of these held up in my real life, and that's where things got interesting. So my wife and I got a very rare 5-day beautiful kids-free vacation. And I brought both handhelds with me because, I don't know, of course I did. And I used them on the trip to put them through a real-world test. So on hotel balconies, flights, even on airport floors, both devices were amazing. But the Legion screen won out. For longer gaming sessions, that size again made a difference. It just felt more immersive. Battery life was still not great. Both tap out depending on the games, around 90 to 120 minutes under load. If you're near a plug, who cares? But at least know that if you're planning on going plug free. But the trip did expose, I think, a big problem. Legion Go S is loud. Not just like I can hear a fan loud, more like, why does a room sound like somebody's running a hairdryer loud? The Steam Deck stays super discreet, the Legion does not. And if you game in quiet rooms, on the couch, or in bed next to someone sleeping, might be a problem. I got side-eyed hard while gaming in bed. With the deck, I'm invisible. With the Legion, I was, according to my wife, a problem. If you're always using headphones or in loud environments, maybe it doesn't matter so much, but for stealth gaming, which to be honest is probably how most parents play, noise matters. So just bear that in mind. So I want to just talk a little bit about money because the pricing here is not as straightforward as it looks. The Steam Deck OLED starts at $549 for 512 gigabytes model. And that's, I think, the version most people are buying. Meanwhile, the Go S has a list price of $599, but as of this filming, Best Buy's got it on sale for $549. Of course, sales could mess this whole section up. So right now, at least as I'm talking to you, these are essentially tied on price, but one of them's technically on sale. And I think that matters. The Legion Go S stays at $549 long term, becomes a really compelling option. You're getting a bigger 8-inch screen, 120 hertz refresh rate, native SteamOS, more ergonomic build, all for the same price as the Deck OLED. But if that $50 discount disappears and jumps back to just $600, now you're paying more for something that's louder, drains battery faster, and does not always outperform the Deck. And that's where this comparison got tricky. If you are coming from a Steam Deck LCD, both of these are massive upgrades. Screen size, battery life, performance, it's a big leap either way. And if you like a bigger display or more comfortable grip, the Legion makes sense, especially while it's discounted. If you already have a Steam Deck OLED, way tougher call. You are not getting night and day difference here. But if you're starting from scratch, no handheld at all, and you want to get into this space, Legion Go S, still at $549, is an easy recommendation. Especially if you play a lot of games at home and you value comfort and screen size over like efficiency. So the bottom line, at $549, this is a fair fight. At $599, the Legion Go S better be exactly what you're looking for. It's not really much faster, doesn't really last longer, but it fits how I game. The bigger screen makes gaming more enjoyable for me. The ergonomics let me play long without my hands cramping. SteamOS is SteamOS. There's no learning curve here at all. And being able to boost performance when plugged in, that was a nice bonus. This isn't like a technical win. This isn't like a hands down win. This is like a very personal win for me. I haven't touched my Steam Deck in weeks, and that told me everything that I needed to know. But if you are shopping fresh and Legion Go is on sale, it's not just competitive, it's the one that I would buy.